Nomvuyo, a very good morning to you. The rand trading at 6.79 at this point. Did go a little bit below that this morning as well. And of course, we've had that dollar weakening above 140 against the euro. So really, again, a dollar story affecting the rand here.
Morning, Stephen. Yes, you're absolutely right. I mean, the rand did strengthen below 680 and largely on the back of continued dollar weakness. We saw some really positive numbers come out of the UK and EU yesterday. UK unemployment rate came in better than expected, while in the European Union area, their industrial production actually picked up quite significantly in August. So we saw the dollar weaken relative to those currencies after that news came out, and then it continued to weaken across the board, with the result that the rand strengthened quite significantly.
We also had some data coming out of China. Trade surplus for September sitting at $16.9 billion. Reserves accumulation ahead of expectations. And also what's coming out of China is there is still strong demand for some commodities, particularly oil, where it's actually overtaken the US as the biggest importer of oil, or the biggest user of oil. And of course, this must be propping up commodity prices as well and helping the rand.
Yes, absolutely, Stephen. I mean, the China impact, and in fact that entire region really is helping to drive, really is being looked to as the engine of global growth for, I think, this year and probably over the medium term as well. And that definitely is filtering into other emerging market economies, and the rand is, enjoying the ride.
Well, at the same time, we have mining production numbers coming out today locally. Also, the monetary policy review this evening. Any of this that could influence the direction of the currency? Well,
Stephen, at this point, it really seems that international factors are what are driving the rand. If you just look back to yesterday's release of retail sales, which came out well below market expectations. I mean, the market had been expecting an acceleration in retail sales to 8.5%, and they actually came in at 4.6%. But despite that, the rand actually didn't weaken significantly in relation to that data. So, although we are expecting or hoping for an increase in mining production from today's figures, one isn't really, I mean, it's certainly not cast in stone that if the mining data come out worse than expected, the rand could weaken on the back of that data. I mean, it should, but recent trends have shown that actually it's international factors are really what are driving the currency at the moment.
Well, we had Reserve Bank Governor Jill Marcus speaking at a business meeting yesterday, and also highlighting the fragility of the recovery in South Africa, and really alluding to those manufacturing and retail sales figures that have disappointed the market this week. Do you think that we're getting more of a dovish tone coming out of the Reserve Bank Governor, which we could also see in that monetary policy review this evening?
Well, it certainly seems so, Stephen. I mean, as we've just discussed, the recent data has been quite poor, and that bodes quite ill for South Africa's GDP growth for the third and fourth quarters of the year. So I think if the data continues in this vein, then the argument for another rate cut at the November meeting then will obviously start to gain some traction. And of course, if the monetary policy review today is quite a dovish tone, I think expectations of a rate cut would certainly start to build.